Hey, welcome back. And it's a quick turnaround for this episode of the podcast that drinks and knows things. We are discussing episode 5 of season 2 titled Regent or Regent. Oh, Regent. Oh, okay. Regent. That Bob, I will save my comment for I will keep that in mind until the end there, Luke. Uh, Today is July 15th, 2024. Joining me as always in our live studio, Glenn of House Dog. How you doing? What you drinking? Modelo, nice. And Luke, you're there too. What do you got? I didn't hear. Much. Nice. Bailey, how about you? Delo, nice. Well, I got a Mexican style drink. I went with the Cayman Jack margarita. So going going for there, but just wanted something cheap and found it at Walmart. So I was like, okay, that sounds tasty. All right. Anyway, this show and all of our shows at thepodcast.com are produced with the love and support of our wonderful Imaginary Legion patrons. Learn more about our reward tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. So last night's episode was last night, July 14, 2024. It was 1 hour and 3 minutes long. It was directed by Claire Kilner and written by Ty Mickle. Mickle. Uh, Glenn, go ahead with that previously on. Oh, oh, yeah. Yep, you're right. That's correct. Bailey, go for it. Hmm. Hold up, Bailey. Sorry, they cannot hear you guys at all. Your mic, yeah, uh on OBS is showing no clicks while you're talking. Oh, yeah, I see now. Yep, they're Chad is saying they cannot hear. So yeah, yeah. Now wherever you move to, that sound is working great, at least for me. It sounds a lot clearer now. What's your input? Make sure you're not on the camera or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. Previously on, and for those who can't hear, they're all there drinking Modelo's. So I will kind of do my best here. All right, when you can hear them, guys. Okay. So previously on, Kragan Stark pledges his grave ears to Queen Rhaenyra. King Aegon promises much needed funds to the Iron Workers. Rhaenyra sends her youngest heirs away to be raised by Rhaena. Rhaenyra questions Daemon's motivations. Alice Rivers tends to the garden ideas that she's planting in Daemon's head. Daemon meets with the Blackwoods. Combat Cole and Aemon plan battles behind Aegon's back. And Alicent delivers harsh realities. Dragon Riders from Black debate who will meet the Greens on the battlefield. Aegon fucks up well-laid plans. Aemon turns the king into toasted marshmallow and brings about the end of Meleys and Queen Who Never Was. A dagger is taken. The king's fate is in question.
How about now? Can you hear us? Is that coming through on the chat? I feel like there's a lot of noise coming through as well. So
it does sound better. Bailey or Glenn, say something.
Something, or whatever.
Okay,
so chat,
it's a little better than
before.
Benji, what you're getting is not good
I know.
audio. You're getting shitty camera microphone, just for the record.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, there we go. We can hear.
Huzzah! Switch the microphones. Hey, he can do it all, folks.
Not well. Okay.
All right. Excellent.
It's only 1,000 degrees down here.
Said, we'll do it live. With that said, episode description. Bailey, take her away.
Amid whispers of bad omens, the Greens consider how to fill a void on Aegon's council. Jacaerys sets out on a rogue mission to strike a deal, and Daemon enlists Lord Willem Blackwood to help persuade the Brackens to bend the knee.
We shall see. All right, opening credits. Think everything was the same. Good song as always. They haven't changed anything since the rat catchers, from what I've read online. Like the rat catchers was the last thing added. So, all right, first area, Driftmark / Dragonstone.
Corlys and Rhaenyra mourn the loss of Rhaenys.
Yes, they did.
Yep, it sure did happen.
Go ahead, Bailey or Glenn.
Go for it.
Yeah, I think at this point he just looks really lonely. Like he's the only person on. I mean, he's just sitting by himself. There's nobody like. You don't hear a church mouse scurry about at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost without Rhaenys, and I think he's really questioning how he moves forward in life.
Yeah, it makes me think of the meme. I think it's Narcos, from Narcos, where the guy just standing there looking out over the cliff, standing there looking, just I don't know where to go, kind of thing. But yeah, the only thing with that scene, it goes the behind the scenes, but they didn't redo Driftmark Hall. They literally just did the 1/8 of the hall itself, and everything else was digitally put in.
Oh,
so
really?
I thought that was
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty neat to see them do that. They have this new technology where literally they can hold it up and it puts all the AI or AIR, whatever, artificial reality on the screen for them, so they could see what it looks like in real time.
Augmented reality. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, they've had the technology for Pokemon Go for this many years. I mean, it's about time you use it in filmmaking, right?
Right. All right. So, Luke, you got anything for that one?
No, I mean, more on it later, I think. There's plenty of Corlys later.
Yep. All right. The King's Landing.
Meleys's head is paraded through the streets of King's Landing as the small folk scrounge for what little food they can find. Alicent and Aemond watch over the crowds.
Glenn, go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, you basically see like kind of the townsfolk are not really thrilled at this, but what would make them like even more joyous is if Al Roker was there, like the Thanksgiving Day parade, and here comes Snoopy, and then the head of Meleys.
You gotta pep it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, we got performances by Kelly Clarkson and the Jonas Brothers.
You're gonna have Joan Rivers and her daughter out there discussing the outfits. I mean, come on, what else are we doing here?
Right. Well, yeah,
we have Anne for the Rockettes.
And don't worry, there's a giant turkey next.
Yeah,
they would love to have a giant turkey.
Spoiler alert, it's the king!
Spoiler alert, there is no turkey in town. Well, more on that later.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I definitely, and that's exactly what they expected. Like Cole had expected that from the response, and not quite so much. Bailey.
Yeah, I think Gwaine is really showing his rationality here again, when he pronounces it a strange victory, if it was one. So
Right,
it really kind of makes you think on, he sees what the small folks see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a better... I mean, in a way, he's grown up to kind of be aware of what the pomp and circumstance, like the appearance, the perception of that is, right? Of being... This is kind of one of the things he does offer compared to C-word Cole. Like, Cole is a small folk in his mind, but he doesn't necessarily always know what it means to put on the pageantry. Like, what the message behind it can do... Like, what level of power you have by presenting it in a certain way. Where Gwaine, I feel like, is kind of raised in a way that you probably would have to know that you need to be really aware of how this is perceived.
Everything you do has implications.
Read the room. And
Yeah, I mean, that's... No, you're absolutely right on that. It's one of those, Gwaine grew up, the highborn, but it's, he knows he has to show what's perceived. And Cole is more like, coming from the small folk, but not quite. That's like, he's never starved. I've never gotten the impression that Cole struggled as a youngling or, young squire or anything like that. So he doesn't understand the plight of Flea Bottom, how Flea Bottom's going to react compared to, the middlings. The middlings might get what he's coming from. Like, okay, yeah, cool, war, we're still feeling fine. But everybody in King's Landing is starving right now. Yeah,
he was poor, but not that poor.
Exactly.
He was middle class poor.
Yeah. Upper, lower, middle,
of the poor side. I also thought it was interesting how, we see the small folk are really not pleased by this, and even one of them is saying, I thought the dragons was gods. This is kind of the first time, because everyone that's alive pretty much has lived in truly peaceful times. It's been a long time since there's been some shit. And so, you think these dragons are invincible because you've probably never even seen one. And if you have, you've never seen one hurt.
Well, and if it can happen to the opposition's dragons, it can happen to your dragons too.
Right, absolutely. It's just interesting to get their take on the invincibility and the kind of deity level that they put not only the dragons but Targaryens in general. Like, they're kind of perceived as being truly better than you. Like
pigs amongst guinea pigs.
Pigs amongst guinea pigs, as the old maesters would say.
And it was Hugh, which makes sense later on in the episode where he's like, it's just meat, and that's where his brain is because he's hungry, so he's like, yep, they're just meat. But it's a good point. Yeah, the last dragon to have died before this, if I'm correct, was Balon. And that was after Viserys rode him, which was 50 plus years before.
Balerion.
Balerion, yeah. Sorry, Balerion. Was probably 40 to 50 years before this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the last dragon to have died. And so most of those people probably weren't even alive for that. And then the one before that the first one to be killed, Rhaenys is Rexus?
Meleys? For Rhaenys?
Rhaenys.
Yeah, Meleys.
No, not Meleys. I'm talking Queen Visenya and Aegon and
gotcha.
Queen.
Yeah.
Hers and Dorne. So I think that's the last one that was actually killed. So, and that was over 130 years ago or 120 years ago at this point. So yeah, them seeing dragons and a dead one is a shock to them because like the one guy said, I thought it was a god. So it's just impactful, but in the wrong way. Like you said. If theirs can die, so can ours.
Yeah.
So, all right. With all that, we're staying in King's Landing.
Aegon is taken on a tour around the castle from inside a box, then eventually brought to his rooms to begin the removal of his armor and treatment of his wounds.
Yeah. Glenn, go ahead with yours.
Okay, I just want to, is the sword okay? Because that's the first thing they take out of the box is a sword. Make sure it's safely on the table before dealing with Aegon as he's in a burlap
Priorities.
sack or whatever.
Yeah, that's all. I was like, yeah, they're trying to build an intrigue. It's like, okay, just get to the point. But Bailey, mine kind of ties into yours there.
This
So I'll let
whole
you go.
scene was so stupid. I mean, I really find it hard to believe that they did nothing for him on the battlefield. They didn't do anything for him on the way back. This is the first time they're looking at his wounds and trying to take his armor off. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like I did a little after seeing your note. I'm like, yeah, that makes complete sense. And like, did a little research. There's a couple websites that give you distances, and Rook's Rest by horseback is about 6 days away from King's Landing, and that's moving at a decent clip. They weren't, because he's in this little litter thing. So we're
Yeah,
looking
like they didn't fly
10
him
days.
back on Dragonback.
No, because Cole and all of them were with him and all that. He got hauled back, so it took a week and a half.
Yeah, that motherfucker
know.
should be dead by now.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Everybody has access to Littlefinger's, teleporter and, all that shit. But it's just like, come on. It took Cole, 3 or 4 days to march an entire garrison all the way up there. It's going to take at least 3 or 4 days logistically to get Aegon back. Yeah, but you couldn't send for a maester to ride out faster to meet him.
Or that they didn't have anyone with them that had any kind of medical knowledge.
Yeah, right. You don't
Your field
have any
nurses?
septons, or you don't have any septons or septos on the battlefield with you, or even at Rook's Rest didn't have a maester.
The whole thing's dumb.
Yeah.
The whole thing's just.
It is. He should have been. He should have been way more charcoaly too. That's it.
The whole thing is set just to show this kind of subtle almond smirk. Like,
yeah,
come on. The whole thing was like, how much does Aemond feel happy about this? Like, oh, I don't know. I'd say this is a pretty dumb scene, and it's just kind of impractical in general. Like you were saying, like, really, this is the first time you've done anything? Like, you didn't even like give him a drink of water. Like,
it gets even worse when the maester. Yeah, it gets even worse when the maester tells Alicent, "Excuse me, Your Grace, these next few hours are the most critical." Okay, it's like 6 days out.
They've all been critical. That's your king, dog.
Yeah, and like, okay, I will give credit to the makeup artist. It did look good. Like it looked very Two-Facey. Melted on skin, because Targaryens don't burn, but they can melt. There's that's the thing.
When we were
Valyrian steel doesn't burn, but it can melt. It can heat up.
When we were sitting here watching this after recording last night, the four of us, Bailey, Glenn, Abby, and myself, because Benji skedaddled. We were watching this, and I'm like, man, that really reminds me of like when they were peeling the grayscale off of Jorah, and I was like, just joking, like, really, no one thought of peeling grayscale off, but like just visually, the costuming seemed like they hired that person again. And it did a good job. Commendable.
Yeah,
I said it looked like a pizza.
But you're right. It was just the build up, and it was the build up to the Aemon smirk and Alicent's look.
Glenn, you gotta say your.
Oh yeah, I said it looked like a burnt pizza or whatever, and somebody made the joke of you take it back to Domino's.
Yeah, you got the pizza, the toppings all stuck to the box lid.
Insurance.
It's still pizza. All right. Next scene on King's Landing there.
Alicent questions cleaning Cole about the events of the battle.
Yeah. So, apart from what he saw at the end, I don't think Cole's lying in full or for what he saw Aemon's part in it, because he was on the ground, battling, having to first keep eyes on the battle that's coming at him or that he's going towards, and secondly, keep an eye on the dragons and everything that they're doing. So for him to know exactly intent, he's not lying. I think he has his, feelings or his opinions on it, but I don't think he's lying when he says, I couldn't tell you.
He did
you know?
have a concussion though. Like I don't know if that plays
Yeah,
into.
that's the other thing
it.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but actually, was he knocked out before? No, I think
he saw.
Aegon got.
I think he saw.
I'm pretty sure he's.
I think he tries to like start heading in that direction and then gets concussed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he knows.
Right.
I don't know if he wants to. I don't know that he's. Well, they've had 6 days of marching apparently, so he's had a chance to chit chat with Almond. I'd expect at this point. But
yeah, what's the concussion protocol? For,
I mean,
for King's Landing,
he's got to go to the. they gotta give him the flyer to get back in the game, but I think he's protecting Aemond here against his mom a bit. Of like, it's not for me to say what happened. Like. That shit's too complicated for me to even want to put my dick in right now, so I'm staying out of it. One thing I did think...
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. One thing I did think was interesting about what he was talking about, though, is he mentions Sunfire was long in dying. Now, I've got thoughts on that. From the book, Sunfire shouldn't be dead at this point.
No.
I don't know if it's they're doing that, or when Bailey and I were rewatching just a little bit ago today, it seems like it's a bit, he left a small garrison there, and Sunfire was taking too long to die but couldn't move, so he just left. I think Sunfire's still alive, personally, and he just assumes it's not going to make it.
it's reported that it's dead.
I don't even know if it's reported. I think he's just assuming.
Right,
because
and then
it was
he left
clearly not
because
good.
they've got to get the king back.
Right, he had to make the priority the king, and Sunfire was taking too long, and we can't just haul
We got 6
him over.
days. We can't wait any longer. We got 6 days and 3 hours until, the king's gonna be gone.
That's true. Yeah, we got that much time.
Yep.
Ticking time.
Got to make it back before that that 3 hour mark comes up.
And Luke, I'm just doing it because I would do the same thing to Abby. You just jumped about 15 scenes.
No, I did not.
Yeah, he talks about this when they're talking.
He talks
in the
about
yard.
that in this scene.
Nope.
He says it. I wrote it in my journal. It's on this scene.
It's definitely in this scene where he mentions
1000%.
to Alice it.
100%.
I thought.
I would not have remembered that watching just an hour ago. Literally, probably exactly an hour ago right now.
Okay, because I could have sworn it was all during the.
No,
when
that's
they're
later
talking
on.
later
They
in the
talk.
yard.
They talk again, certainly, and we'll get there. But I haven't.
'Cause I thought all he said in this scene was I couldn't tell you.
No, so
Yeah.
in the yard,
But-
we'll get to it.
So yeah, we'll get to it. Okay, never mind. I'm moving on. I apologize. All right, Glenn. go ahead
Okay,
and
yeah.
go
So
on.
we see the cleaning coal has got a lemon and a salt mixture cleaning the blade or whatever. I think he must have got that out of like a Good Housekeeping magazine or whatever. He's waiting in the doctor's office.
Good acid and basis. That acid and basic. That's all you need.
Give it a nice little scrub.
Yeah.
Gotta exfoliate that shit.
Does the trick every time.
Bailey.
I think Cole has motives for keeping Aemon's involvement secret. There's got to be more than just his coyness of, well, take it up with your son if you really care. Like he's hiding for a reason.
Yeah. So, all right. Moving on, we'll go to Dragonstone.
Rhaenyra and her small council disagree about how to wage war.
Go ahead, Bailey.
So I think that in this scene we really see Rhaenyra be just as disregarded by her council as Aegon is by his, in similar but different ways. I mean, they don't want to send their ruler out, which is understandable. They're saying the same thing about Aegon, but they don't respect her because she's a woman. Like they're saying, you don't know how to wage war. And they're not wrong, but at the same time, no one does, really, that's here, because they've not seen it either.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like the funny thing is, it's like they want her, as in the royal her, hey, we need to clean the house, means you need to get your ass up and clean the house. The royal her to go to war. But which is like, okay, I'll go. Well, no. You stay here. That's fine. And she's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And so I'm kind of taking my previous comments of do nothing. She's trying to do something. They're just not letting her, And so I thought that was kind of interesting flip on this scene where that finally she's like, okay, yeah, let's go do something. I'll go do it. And they're all up in the arms like, no, you're the queen, you can't. Well, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically really both sides are doing the exact same thing of, no, you're too special, you can't do it, and you can't do it because you're a woman. No, you can't do it. Like, was dealing with it. Like, how does anyone be a king when no one's going to support any of them? Is really, all of their counselors are dog shit, is what it feels like right now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And maybe it comes down to none of them are as grab the bull by the horns leaders as someone like Aemond or Daemon are, and that's supposed to be what we're seeing. You know, like, we're not seeing the person of true action that just comes in and fucks the realm into submission.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing it through diplomacy,
Right.
the right way, in certain terms, but it's not what people are wanting to get as their regent, right? This is kind of the difficulty of convincing people that all-out war is still a bad idea. Like, we're kind of there, but you gotta either let me do something or we're doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe I think they just have, these leaders just don't have the wherewithal to just, hey, I'm doing this. If you don't like it, then you can get out.
Mhm.
But this is what we're doing.
You
Live with
can, yeah.
Go on,
Get out of here.
Glenn, you got a thought?
Yeah, so
that.
what's his name? Sir Alfred
Yeah.
or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the broomman.
Broomman.
Alfred Broom.
I call him Sir Curmudgeon. But he takes a jab at Rhaenyra, said, "Oh well, Daemon left after a marital spat," like pretty much kind of blaming her for Daemon being gone, when really, if anything, it could be both of their fault, or more so Daemon's fault as well.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't keep your husband in check. How are you expected to keep an entire realm in check?
Right.
But that's like a real perception from the people of like, well, if you can't keep your household sorted out, how can you rule a realm? We even saw that back in Game of Thrones in the future.
Back to the future.
Right.
Yeah, that was a vision we had. I remember that.
Helena. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do like Rhaenyra calling Alfred out. Is like, I've seen as much war as you have. All of none. So you're nothing special. I like that call out because, men play at war, but it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically saying you never played Risk as a kid. Like, right? I mean, they're basically saying you weren't allowed to play Risk or Stratego, so you can't be in charge.
All you did was fill cups and read books.
And learn names.
Yep.
Hey, that's better than I could do. Fuck. I still have friends that I hang out with. I couldn't tell you their name. Legit. I'm too afraid to ask.
Hey, you're good at filling cups.
Oh, yeah, that guy's here.
You're good at filling cups.
Hey, it's that guy.
Hey. All right.
Hey,
anything
you.
else for that scene? Hey, you.
No, I think we're good there.
All right. Go for it, Bailey.
Jace plans a secret mission of his own with Bela's help.
Yeah. I real simple. I like these two together. They like every scene. They complement each other so well, and and they understand each other. So they're like, they both know they want to be a part of it, but they know their positions, so they got each other's backs. And it's just really cool. It does suck that she does get one honor taken that she takes from him in the book instead later on, but story. It's okay.
Yeah,
Anybody
so
else? Just take it.
we got the twins is basically where he decides, like, that's where I'm gonna go. And that's like, it's always been the key for even in the future when we were watching that.
When we were predicting the future.
Right. Like the twins is just this place where the northern troops cannot cross without crossing there, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a real linchpin.
And then
point.
something I did notice too is they stopped campaigning a little bit after Luke's death. I guess they're just kind of too shell shocked or whatever to keep up that support system or whatever. But just interesting.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah, and the thing is, it's more like they're like, okay, well, Damon's doing that, and I want to keep Jace close, so It's Rhaenyra protecting her firstborn, the true heir, because she saw what happened with Luke, and I think this is him finally saying, "No, fuck that. I'm going."
Yeah, no, this is one of my favorite couples to see every time. They just work so well together. They respect each other. They're a good pairing.
I think they should get married.
They should.
They should date. Yeah. Yeah. This is like another scene where the regents themselves are being way over coddled. Like the two scenes back to back, kind of what I brought up a little bit ago. Like Rhaenyra is being coddled, in turn, her heir is being coddled. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Look at all the frustrations we're having. And like they're all dealing with it. Both on this side, all of them on the Greens side, like you're too important to risk, but like you're the one that's supposed to make the call and stuff. So how am I supposed to lead when I can't even?
When you won't let me.
You won't let me. But like someone's gonna fucking take the reins, and we might see a little bit of that later. But like someone's gonna have to do something.
Yeah. No, agreed. All right, moving on.
We head to the Riverlands. And Daemon attempts to help the Brackens and the Blackwoods reconcile.
Yeah, Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting where Daemon takes his conversation. So it's my thoughts kind of after we have the calling out the Brackens in the field, and we have that cool shot of Caraxes behind Senior Bracken as he flees. But when Daemon basically just goes to Blackwood and is like, hey, there are certain wink wink things, wink wink, that the crown can't be seen to be doing. Fucking wink, bro. And Blackwood I think he kind of knows right away, but he's like, do I really want to cross that line of honor of like, do I want to do the dirty deeds done darn cheap or not? And he basically just comes he says, I think I know what you're hinting
I'm picking
at.
up what you're putting down.
I got you, bro.
Even David's like, I think you understand what I mean. Fucking wink.
Blink twice if you understand.
I don't know. It was just kind of funny how it was like, I'm telling you a secret by not saying it, and then I'm confirming that you're picking it up. I don't know. He's so blatant with it. I love it.
Yeah.
Right, Bailey.
I don't know. I feel like this is another case of Daemon providing instruction in a slightly unclear way where it's gonna go wrong.
Maybe purposefully wrong.
Potentially.
I didn't tell them to rape and pillage. I just
told them to get it done.
I just said the crown can't be seen raping and pillaging. Which is reasonable, Rhaenyra. It's reasonable. We were on a break.
Glenn.
Yeah, so this is a similar dilemma as Cole's facing. Is he can't kill that many people because he needs the swords, basically. So, I mean, and you kind of see the Bracken and kind of call his bluff, so to speak, as if, okay, you're not going to kill us because you need us. Mm-hmm. So we choose fire, is what they say.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Like Luke said, it, like when they turned around and walked away, you see that cool shot of Caraxes. I was expecting the mouth to open and the flame just to start to build, kind of thing, and then it just cuts, and it cuts to him just sitting there, and like the look he had, it was definitely Corey Matthews. I didn't think they'd pick that, like just, like, okay, interesting. Well, now I like them.
Ballsy.
I just thought it was just, I like the cut of his jib. All right, fair enough. So no, it was, it's like he's like, and then the Black was like, you should have burned them. Well, that's not really the point. I need their support. I need their men. So yeah, go do your thing. Just do it where we don't. The crown can't be seen. Mr. Johnson, when I stamp on your foot and wink your eye, thank you, Mr. Johnson.
He's gonna get a flaming bag of dog shit and put it on the porch.
One of the flaming bags again. Don't put it in your pants, Ted. Don't tell me my business, devil woman.
It's poop again.
He called you shit, poop. Okay.
He called it shit. I think that's all we got for that one, right? So, moving on up to the Ari, and actually, technically not the Erie. I think this is just the Vale.
It's the Erie.
I think they're just at the gates because they're at the gate to the moon.
Well,
castle.
she even says that Erie is impregnable.
She does.
When I feel like she's at the place with her. It wasn't clear, and it definitely didn't look the same as Game of Thrones Erie, but
no,
they've also changed things before on that.
Yeah, I mean that one, the castle they showed looked to me to be the gates of the moon. You know,
there wasn't a road there wasn't a road continuing beyond it, is what it looked like to me. It looked like the end of the road. Hopefully someone in the chat has maybe confirmed. I don't know that it's super clear, but I assumed it was the Erie.
Well, in any case, wherever it is.
Somewhere in the fucking Vale.
Lady Jane Eyre shows Rhaena to her new rooms.
Yep. Glenn.
Yeah, so it's not the size of the dragon in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dragon. So she's basically bitching about the young dragons. Like, I ordered dragons, these are, little
I've got
puppies.
hunting dogs bigger than these. Like, okay.
But,
More fierce than these.
More fierce.
I mean, she's got the dragons, but is she going to be able to tame them? That's my question.
Yeah, like, did they send any dragon trainers?
Yeah, the Valyrian keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good question. I
Maybe
mean,
she doesn't know.
And they sent literally the one Valyrian girl that we know can't deal with dragons so far. Like, at least to this point, has been quite unsuccessful.
That's
I think it was
her job is
even mentioned earlier in this episode.
I think it's later.
It's much later. It's much later. But like, she has mentioned that she doesn't.
She almost died the last
Hasn't had
time
great
she
luck
tried
with
to
dragons. So,
wrangle a dragon.
like, hopefully it works out with the little Targaryen babes that are also in the picnic basket.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, a 9-month-old dragon wiped out the entire city of Astapor. We saw that happen. So it's like,
maybe it's like baby rattlesnakes where they don't know how to like keep it in check yet, and so they just fully blaze everything down.
I mean,
It could work out in their favor.
The dragon pit's built for that. The Erie is not built for that. Like, it could be detrimental. It really could. So Lady Jane's really not unreasonable here of like, one, they're tiny, and they're not really going to do what I need them to. I think it's fair. Like, they're not trained. This could be a disaster on our hands.
They can burn down the whole place, and then they rebuild for the next show.
Yeah, that's what happened, Benji. It gets burnt down, and then they build a Erie 2 for Game of Thrones. That's what. That's where we meet Bronn, the singer.
Yeah, Bronn the singer. Exactly. All right. Anybody got anything else on that one? Or Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting piece here towards the end of their conversation. They kind of, knock heads a little bit at first, but they're also feeling each other out. And I think they both do a pretty good job. And at the end, Lady Jane is kind of like, I don't like feeling powerless. Like, the whole point of me taking you on was to get some defense. And I don't feel like I have that. But we also get some of her perspective, too, saying, I don't like feeling powerless either. Because we know what she just went through, even being sent here. Like, she feels like she didn't really even have a say in it, and she doesn't really want to be nursemaid. But she didn't have a voice, even in her own future. She knows out of duty she's going to do it, but she feels powerless. Like, she didn't even ask to be here. I'm not even supposed to be here.
Yeah, she looks really resigned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how much more we get of these two either coming to terms and working together or continually being at odds. I don't know. I'm curious to see how they take it, and it could be really interesting because whether it's this season or future, there could be very important things coming from the group that's now housed here.
No, definitely.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Fair. Bailey, any thoughts?
No, not really.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Dragonstone.
Rhaenyra and the White Worm concoct a plan to garner public favor for Team Black.
Yeah, I think here you see Rhaenyra is kind of like, well, they don't trust me. I've never been in a fight, and like they're not wrong, but my father did not prepare me to fight. He just gave me, I think she says, a cup, to be a cupbearer.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of like kind of Ned Stark. He wanted Arya to kind of be that too, and then she kind of pushed back, and he's like, okay, fine, yeah, like you want to be a knight, like we'll get you trained and stuff like that, instead of just no, this is what I have planned for you. You're gonna be a lady for some guy.
Yeah, I mean, basically taking any option that she may have had to be able to learn to be kind of the fighting ruler king. I mean, she's got a fucking dragon. Like, I feel like part of dragon riding almost needs to be sword work. Like, boy or girl. I mean, in general, girls should also get sword work, in my opinion, if they want it. Like, I'm fully on the team Arya. I don't know that she was asking for it when she was younger, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same,
That's
but
true.
Yeah.
but I think as she was named, like, at minimum, you need to go to, like, the gun safety course. Like at minimum.
Yeah, how to be a ruler boot camp.
Right, and sometimes rulers have to conquer or defend, and right now that's the struggle she's dealing with. And one thing I do like about I think a good ruler knows what holes in their own experience they have, like what expertise they have. Like, the number one thing you can do is be like, well, here's where I'm weak. So you fill that hole with other people that you trust.
Councils.
And honestly, if Damon was here and they could get on the same fucking page, like, there's no problem.
Yeah,
Guess
they'd be
what?
unstoppable.
You just say, okay, Damon, let's work together. I trust your experience here, but, like, it's my say, which he's grading against. We know that. But, like, that's the thing that's missing. And we'll get to it further down the line, but I think it's good of her to recognize that within herself. I don't think Aegon would have recognized that himself. Aemond was kind of showing him that last episode of, like, I'm showing you where your faults are. You're hearing it, but you weren't asking for it. She's sitting here saying,
you're not listening to it.
Right. Yeah. And I think he took it the wrong way, where Rhaenyra's hopefully going to take it in a way that, like, okay, I can take this weakness and turn it into a strength by filling that hole with the right piece.
Yeah, that's completely fair. The only thing I really took from the scene was it was very reminiscent of Cersei. Like, that gave me big Cersei vibes of Jaime was given this and this and this from the time he was born, and I was taught to sew needle and smile and look pretty kind of thing. And it's like Rhaenyra really wasn't that, though, either, because when she had finally come of age and probably could have sat council meetings, she fucked off to Dragonstone. She left because she didn't want to be around Alicent. She wanted to be with Daemon and all that, because after this was actually even before then with Laenor, she kind of just fucked off and wasn't around for when Alicent was regenting. So her to be there in times like that to learn, she just was gone. So it's kind of on her too that she chose not to be there to help realize how she can fill the holes where she's not as skilled.
Yeah.
But Bailey, your thoughts?
I just really like the White Worm, and she seems to know what she's doing, and I'm hoping that time proves me right in backing her. I don't know.
It's definitely a different perspective.
It is, and it's something
valuable.
that I think the Greens aren't taking into account. They're not trying to take it from the point of view of the public. They're just trying to force their point of view on the public.
Yeah, they're ruling for or on, not with or for.
Yep.
They're ruling on, not for. Fair?
Exactly. All right. Next scene.
Bela and Rhaenyra reminisce about Rhaenys, and Bela is tasked with delivering a package to Corlys.
So my only thoughts on this one, this would have been a better scene a little earlier in the episode, maybe before Jace left, because when we saw Bela and Jace, she wasn't in a sour mood. She wasn't upset or anything. And I get it. Grief affects people at different times and everything like that. It just chronologically, it would have made more sense to put this earlier in the episode as they're both kind of commiserating instead of this late after what had happened. And I know it's only like a day or two, but it just, things have happened since then. And this feels like it should have been moved up in the important level.
I could see that, and like maybe even at this point, Bela's still keeping the secret that Jace has left. I don't know yet, but it's like weird timeline-wise of how it all goes down.
Yeah, that's was kind of my thought too.
It is cool to see more and more trust being put onto Bela.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's really finding kind of her footing. There's just been several things where it's like she's kind of becoming a go-to reliable person for Rhaenyra, and you know that's cool for her. That's
I love that for her.
I really like that for her because I feel like I feel bad for her sister right now, but. Which again, unconfirmed as far as I know in the show if they're twins or not. They're supposed to be, but like I like that she's kind of being given responsibility, and so far we haven't really seen her drop the ball. And until that happens, hopefully it's just more and more trust gained and earned, and yeah, it's just a cool thing of what she's being asked to do here. And I also really like, because this is where they're talking about Rhaenys, right? They're, and like I wish I would have seen my grandmother when she was. This is a really cool scene in general. Both of them kind of missing a very, very important person that we showed a lot of love and respect for too. I think a character I'm gonna miss, and it was a cool scene to get two people that had very unique relationships with Rhaenys, and then Rhaenyra just kind of like. Oh, and by the way, I have a job for you. It's just like, and on top of that, I'm buttering you up because I need something a little.
Yeah. And one other thing, like if you listen to what they were talking about how she got Meleys, that was Aemond and Viserys's mother's dragon, and Rhaenys slipped in and didn't steal her, but rode her, like claimed her, kind of thing, and it pissed Daemon off, which goes to show some of the animosity that we've seen from Daemon to Rhaenys throughout the series. It's been undertoned, but there's always been that little bit of, yeah, fuck you, whenever he speaks to her directly. And I think this ties back to this here. I think it probably starts at this point, because he thought that dragon was meant for him or was supposed to be his.
Fair?
Yeah.
Entitled.
So, all right, moving on to Harrenhal.
Damon's wet dreams continue during dinner, and on this week's episode of HGTV's Haunted Castle renovation, Harrenhal's upgrades are in jeopardy as Simon seeks to secure a loan.
Oedipus, that motherfucker. But thank you.
Yeah.
But I love Simon sticking it's at the end of the same, but to the rightful titles. It's like he keeps calling me Grace. You should call me your king. What do you call the queen's husband? King, consort. And he's like, yeah, I know you could kill me. You're not going to, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, man. It's you do whatever you want. I'll give you the titles that you seem, whatever you want, but at the same point, I'm not. I'll let you think I will, but no, you're still who you are. So I just I like him kind of stand up indirectly for himself with that.
Yeah, it's an interesting take because Simon is an interesting character so far. He pushes buttons, but he doesn't.
He does it in a passive aggressive way.
But also not in a passive. You're right, I agree. But in a kind of playful way. He's kind of I know, buddy, but it's consort. We know.
Yeah.
We know you're playing this card,
play
but
that card, I'm gonna play this card.
But like this is
Uno reverse.
Here's the Uno reverse card. It's an interesting dynamic between those two. I'm excited to see more.
Right. And he throws in like, you should write to your wife about getting more money or whatever. And he's like, I'm not gonna do that.
No,
I'll just give you
We're
the money
still fighting.
myself.
I'll pay for this. You'll
Nick.
pay for that.
I'll put it on my
Pay
card.
for this.
I'll charge it. It's okay.
It's the black card with red.
Right.
Luke, what you got?
Yeah, no, this tickling his fancy with his mom fantasy. It's really, we've been getting a lot of this with Damon at Harrenhal, of kind of his inner strife sort of things coming out, whether he wants to realize them or not. It's kind of all coming to a head, and more on that later. But like his deep-seated view of power and intimacy and the need to kind of be considered the favorite are really shown here. Like, and how intertwined they are. Like, this is clearly all in its head, which doesn't make it not real, but it's not real.
Thanks,
in this
Dumbledore.
case. Right. It's intriguing to see how we're getting his inner strife kind of put on screen in a way. And the fact that it's through his mother this time is very interesting, because he feels like he should have been the firstborn. He knows in his heart of hearts that there would be no problems if he was just the older brother, made king, and then all those no problems would have ever happened because he would have solved them. It's a bit overconfident. It's a bit, too sure of himself. But those are the unfortunate kind of curses he feels like he's been given in life. And the Rhaenyra thing is just another bow on top of that little gift there. So, and it just keeps giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else?
I do like how Simon kind of interrupts, like every time he's having one of these type of things. Like it seems like Simon always just cuts in at some point.
Hey, bud, you okay?
How's the duck?
How's the duck?
We also have Goose.
Would you rather have Goose?
I prefer the duck.
So, all right. Moving on to King's Landing.
Aegon's council discusses how to move forward after the battle at Rook's Rest.
Go ahead, Bailey.
So I feel like Alicent in this scene finally sees what it must be like to be Rhaenyra, because she's not being taken seriously. And like, sure, she's no longer in the line of succession, but I think that she really realizes in this moment, oh, this is what it's like. And I really appreciate the choice that they made with the audio of like all the voices start getting quieter after she's been shut down.
Absolutely.
And you can hear like this hum in the background. It's like her rage like boiling up, and she's so mad she can't even hear anybody.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
We were sitting here watching it, and I'm like checking this. I'm like, oh shit! Like, what's going wrong?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're podcasting, and the audio's not fucking working.
I was
I'm
waiting
like,
for her to explode during that boiling point
Yeah.
moment that she had.
Yeah. Do you have
That-
more
her
on?
monologue? Oh, I mean, like before she's trying to like be like, I should be running this show.
Mhm.
She kind of throws Almond under the bus.
Oh, totally. She shits all over him.
Oh,
Lack of
yeah.
restraint has cost us dearly already. Like,
Like,
and like no one really backs her besides, I think, the Maester.
The Maester.
He kind
The
of
Maester does.
goes neutral. I don't
He-
think he really chooses
Yeah.
for her. He just says she did do a good job.
And she buys my elixirs
She
for her
She
friend.
takes a lot of tea.
she uses a lot of tea, plan tea. Yeah, I feel like Benji, you mentioned Cersei Lannister a bit ago. I think in this is the most Cersei feeling I got in this episode of. She doesn't
Same.
give a shit who the real king is anymore because she had that taste of power. And, an opportunity, maybe I should throw my hat back in. And I think she would do an all right job. And she really believes that. But, like, your time is up. My time is now, motherfucker. Like, it's
Can't-
done.
Can't see
can't
me.
see
What
me.
time is now? No.
Yeah.
So my kind of takes on that too. You're absolutely right. It's her want for power and to have it back. But I also think in that moment, the rage is building, but she's also realizing you motherfuckers only humored me because first, the king was my husband, and second, my father was the hand. Like, she's realizing at that moment, she never had their respect. Like, apart from maybe the maester who was like, well, it was, you did a good job, and they maybe had the respect, but never really thought anything more of her than just, oh, you're just filling the seat kind of thing. And that's a lot of somewhere the rage and everything's coming from too, because she's realizing, shit, I am just a woman,
a glorified secretary in their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was just a figurehead.
She never had their respect.
Peace. Yeah, I mean, it was a time of peace too. So like, they didn't have a reason to like question. Oh, well, all this paper pushing. Fine, let her do it. Fine, okay. Yeah. Like, doesn't really mean anything. There's nothing really going on.
Yeah. And my only thoughts was just funny bits of Allison first looking at Clubby with, "You want these piggies, boy? You better, take the sow, jump on the south side." And then when he calls out, her little fuck boy, and he's like, "Yeah, no, gotta be a fighter." He was dejected. He knew. He's like, "Shit, I'm not getting laid for like a week now," with that look. But it's just her, just venom through her eyes coming off. It was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Oh, yeah, because and that's where it just all builds from.
Yeah, no, I love Clubby calling out Christy Cole, like, "Hey, what do you think, bud?"
Yeah, no part of
Boeing,
this
what do
goes
you
well
make?
Right, exactly. That's exactly how we feel.
Apparently, that guy's from St. Louis.
No shit.
Yeah,
did you tell me that already? I think you did tell me that already.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No shit. I didn't know that.
We'll have to reach out to him.
It's some dude on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Do you know his name at all, Bench? No.
I'm sure if I scroll my YouTube shorts. Yeah. But that's funny. All right. Hey, bud. All right. You got anything else on the council?
Nope.
Luke, it does look like you got something else.
I do?
Yeah, and I do agree with it.
Oh, well, then you read my note. No, in general, I mean, I kind of said a little bit like, oh, yeah, in general, she shits all over Aemond, and when she's having her kind of fuzzy-eared fury, Aemond walks around the table, grabs the fucking marble, sets it down, and is like, okay, well, let's immediately get right to business. Like, he immediately has orders, and he's getting advice. He's doing the fucking thing. Like, he's showing, like, this is exactly what a king should do. Hear the council. Where are we at with this? What do you know about this? Report, report, report. Okay, we all know what we're doing, which we don't hear a lot of it. Like, I'm sure if you kind of went back, you could muffle it out a little bit. Like,
closed captions helped a lot.
Oh, yeah. Sure, but, like, obviously not really the point of it. It's kind of hardly the point, but, like, he's direct in his command, and he's clear in his command, and he's taking the advice, and at the end, he's like, oh, and also, let's cut those fucking rat catchers down, because that's ridiculous. Like, he's just like, we're done with that.
The square's been stinking for weeks.
Like, we gotta start getting this ship righted. Let's start doing the right thing. I don't know. I've kind of been rooting for him to take the lead for a while, because he's gonna get stuff actually happening.
Yeah. And the guy's name we were referring to is Ryan Kelly.
Ryan Kelly. Not the same Ryan Kelly. That's the anyway, different thing. Insurance guy.
There's a number of Ryan Kellys out there, I'm sure.
There's a number of Ryan Kellys out there.
Not a very common set of names. But if you know Ryan Kelly from TikTok,
John Smith.
Give him a follow and tell him he should come on our show for this. That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. Staying in King's Landing then.
Hugh the Scorpion Smith and his wife disagree. Rat catchers are released, and Crusader Cole recounts the atrocities of battle. The small folk are locked in King's Landing.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely, there's been the theme of like, there's no food in the capital. I mean, I think like they don't really show, but like the trading routes are, and they're pretty much blocked off. So there's nothing getting in, food wise for them. It's a part of war strategy that's effective, maybe not moral, because I mean all these townsfolk are just kind of the sacrificial hams. Like, they don't really give a shit about them.
Right. I mean, I think it's a really good point. It's probably not moral, and it's also really not good for morale. Like, this is not going to be necessarily good for you to be really upsetting the people that are literally at your feet. Like, and that's kind of what White Worm is telling Rhaenyra. It's like, they're making mistakes over there that we could capitalize on, dog. Like, if we just, like, don't do what they're doing.
Give them a candy bar.
And we just, like, show up with, like, 50-cent treats. Like, it's going to go a long way for these people.
I mean, honestly, go for it.
Go ahead, Ben.
They could bring the body of Maelys back and, like, turn it into a bowl of brown.
Oh, I guarantee they would. Unless they want to make it a real trophy and put it... I mean, it's a dragon. They're going to show reverence for it.
Right.
Whether it was an enemy or not, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll
I don't know. They paraded the head through the town like it was nothing.
So like Glenn said, the trade routes are blocked off, and that's Rhaenyra doing that. They do need to be calling that out. Rhaenyra's blocking your food, Rhaenyra's blocking your food, kind of thing, to keep them on their side. They're not doing that because it's the same thing in Game of Thrones, that when the Tyrells shut off the Rose Road, all access to the Rose Road, and we're starving King's Landing in season 2, whatever, and then all of a sudden Marjorie shows up and everybody's getting fed. Now everybody loves Marjorie. It's the same tactic that Rhaenyra's people are trying to use: starve them out, turn the people against the king, and use them. It's a sound strategy, but they're not playing. They're playing into the hand exactly as Rhaenyra's intending it. They're not saying, "Oh, this is her fault." They're just saying, "Nope, no one leaves because we need you. We need your bodies. We need you here," and it looks real bad on that.
Yeah, you're exactly right, though. Like, if they just came out and was like, hey, Rhaenyra is the reason you don't have food,
it would go a long way.
It would go a long way to, like, whatever White Worm and Rhaenyra have planned that they don't really know about. Obviously, that's subterfuge, but, like, if they just, like, and maybe they are. Maybe the town criers are out there, that bitch queen, that whore queen Rhaenyra is the one like, we just don't see it necessarily, but, like, I think it's gonna go poorly.
And then at the same time, though, they're like locking them into the city, so they can't even get out and go.
Yeah,
except the guys that climbed to the gate and then
the climbers might have got out.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I really hope there's a whole season arc with that goddamn dog. I want to like see in like episode 8 just a mass grave outside of King's Landing or something, and the dog just sitting there. Like I just want that, just some closure, or somebody coming through and be like, "Come along, pup," and the dog follows them. Just give me some closure on dog.
In the Fallout series,
dog meat from Fallout. Yeah.
I want the dog to have a hero moment. Like, he's got to do something good where, like, he helps save the day.
Season 3, he
bites someone's butt that's attacking someone else that we like.
Yeah,
that's all we're gonna get.
Like, somebody's closing the gate, and Damon or Bela's trying like force through, and he bites the leg of the guy putting the chain down, and just something simple, but he gets some hero moment.
Unfortunately, what's gonna happen. He's gonna be used as a sacrificial ham, and you're gonna be really sad. About it. It's just he's not gonna do anything good. He's just gonna get killed, and you're gonna feel bad about it. Because he's been in what, 5 episodes? Like, he's been in 3 episodes now, and
at least 3, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might be 4. It might be 4.
Speaking of the dog meat, we've got the Dire Po cam over here.
Yeah, hopefully the Dire Po cam, all that dog meat.
I was gonna say, speaking of dragons, Bowser, I got that one.
Nice.
Roaming around, but
I saw Gunner a little bit ago too.
Yeah, he was chilling out for a bit. Drag Gunner.
That's right. That's what it was.
Drag Gunner. All right, but and then the other part of the scene was Catastrophic Cole, talking with Allie, and you could tell he's super fucked up by the decisions he's made to help release the dragons, because he's like, I saw men burning alive in their armor, melted to ash. It's we have to live with this. And if we made this choice, a dragon rider should be leading us now. And so like I like that he wasn't sorry for making the choice that he did. He actually could back it up because of what he saw.
Oh yeah, he's got a
So
point.
it's like, yeah,
I always hate scenes where I agree with Candy Corn Cole, and this is one that I very much agree with him. Like, one, Allison, you just need to stop. Like, I'm really fucking tired of her right now. Like, I'm way past caring about her. She could be off. I don't care at all about her anymore.
You don't, or Cole does?
I don't personally. Me, Luke of House Blackmaid, would not raise my banner for her.
I'm also gonna object to you calling him candy corn because I like candy corn, and now I feel weird about it.
Yeah, you're saying candy corn is bad.
Yeah.
This is what you're saying.
How about shit covered Candy Corn Cole?
That's better.
Is that better? I didn't want to go with Candy Cane yet because it's not that time of the season.
It's Christmas in July, okay?
Oh, it's true.
all right. So we got anything else for this? We did see Hugh.
We
did see.
I like what
another
we
section.
get out of Hugh here. We kind of
Yeah.
see him talking to his wife, and his sick daughter is there, and she's trying to like let him know, like, hey, we can't stay here. You're not gonna get You're not gonna get paid for those scorpions that you built. It's just not gonna happen. And if you do, you're gonna be feeding the mouths of ghosts,
And then
which was a kind of a cool line.
Even now that Aegon is pretty much on the fritz, like, now that's just words that came from him that he's not
right.
He's not there to
available.
back up.
Yeah.
Right, and like, do we trust Aemond? Like, they don't even know what. I mean, they might not know much about
Yeah.
Aemond. I don't know.
We need
but,
our
like,
money.
yeah.
No, you don't.
Who the
Like,
fuck are you?
Yeah. What?
No.
What'd you do?
That was Pew that made the
But he promised that he'd
Pew,
pay us.
Pew Pew. But I don't know. I just like getting this stuff from Hugh, kind of seeing his familial strife and like, boots on the ground, what it's like to be here.
Mm-hmm.
They're showing a lot more of that than we got previously. Ulterior motives by the show, but that's okay. And that's all I have to say about that.
Fair. All right. First time in the show, we go to the twins.
An agreement is reached on a bridge.
Luke, go ahead.
It looked awesome. The bridge looks so cool. Like, I don't know, like with the towers on the twin towers on either side. Like, it really kind of shows how important the Freys are in a way.
Yeah.
And like Glenn, you kind of mentioned it. Like, they're going to the Freys. Like, this is a very intrinsically important location.
There's no
And they
moving
built
forward without
the
it.
fucking bridge. So like, yeah, like good on them. Like they've held it.
Yeah.
So like, they have to kind of be catered to, and they have to be met and deal with it on their terms. Because like, unless you're just gonna wipe them out, you're gonna raise their Castamerlings. You gotta kind of just learn how to work with the phrase. And I think fucking Jace does an awesome job here of, hey, here I am. This is what I know. Like, it's a good.
What do
It's
you want?
really good diplomacy. And he gets to, I can see they're kind of balking. What do you want? Like, he just gets right to the point, which I think works for the phrase of like, they're not really going to beat around the bush unless you're making them. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to until
Tell
you
me
allow
again,
them not to.
What do you do here?
What would you say?
Don't say
you
mayhaps.
do?
Let's
Right,
get down to business, defeat the Huns, and then go back to home for dinner.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. It was a really, really cool scene, though. And I like that they meet at the middle of the bridge. Like, it was just kind of a neat touch.
Yeah. And I think more on like the scenery, like they do pan out once he's like walking across the bridge at the end, and you see the dragon kind of on the hillside.
It even starts with kind of shooting behind the jaw
him
of
at that point. And,
Yeah, it was really cool scene in general, just visually.
It showed. Yeah, it showed the scope of the river too, because it's never really been like it was never super depicted well in Game of Thrones. I know you can't do it all that great, but this showed, like you said, Luke, how important that is for why they need that. Because the Northmen can get around, but it takes like a month and a half longer, or just go through this river right here, go across. But Sabitha already showing what she wants and wants Harrenhal. We'll get more on that later. But one thing I do want to call out, because I do go to the after show chats and everything of Reddit and everything. People are like, "Oh, rip Sabbatha. Where's Sabbatha?" Blah blah blah. Because the woman in the show wasn't named even on the captions,
Right.
and it's like that's Sabbatha, and people were saying rip Sabbatha because they had always pictured her because she's an icon to a certain demographic from certain things that later in the books, and they always picture her as a young, like vibrant, whatever looking person, and I'm like, no, that's Sabbatha. That's Forrest's wife. Doesn't mean she can't be a super icon. She's just not what you pictured. And I do kind of find that funny that, because we've done it ourselves. We're like, that's not what I pictured at all, but I can grow to like it and usually do. So I'm interested to see where they take her character, or if they do it all, or if she's just a side note character that was a one-time off. So I do hope we see more from her, but it will be interesting to see which way they go with it.
I know when we were sitting here watching it last night, I'm going to speak for Abby real quick, but like she multiple times brought up, she goes, is she supposed to look like Lady Olenna? Like,
Yeah, with the headpiece,
Just the headpiece.
the scarf, and
Yeah.
crown.
I just wanted to note that for Abby, because she was definitely picking up on that of maybe it's just kind of the standard older lady in the realm garb. Like maybe it's very traditional, and that's kind of what Olenna was doing, kind of harkening back to the old times in a way.
Excuse me.
It was just something that I thought was noteworthy. Of the dress was very
And I
traditional, it felt.
And I think that can be fair, but I think that's also just a nod to the viewer to tell you, hey, remember Olenna dressed like this and she was a badass?
Hey, maybe connect those two in like, yeah, visually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
I just thought it was worth pointing out that Abby immediately was like,
yeah.
"Oh, what's her name? Oh,
Why do I know her?"
She's like, yeah. It was just, it was fair. That was a fair point.
I will say Sabbatha is one of those names that like is automatically a 63-year-old woman.
Yeah, I don't think they were ever young.
No. Benjamin Button.
Yeah, right. All right. Anybody else from the twins?
Nope.
And moving on.
Harrenhal's modernization continues. Alice tends to Damon. Simon delivers a message.
Glenn, go ahead.
I'm still convinced that this Alice Rivers is all an imagination. Like I think it's just his subconscious, or his dream. It is still part of the delusion for Damon. Is this Alice Rivers?
Yeah, I hope we get confirmation within the show. I don't. It feels like one of those, like, I don't think we're really gonna get confirmation. We may. We know. I think earlier you were talking about how we know Alfred's going there, and this may have been when we were watching last night, or even just this afternoon.
Today, yeah.
And you were like, I hope when he gets there. Oh, we haven't even talked about that yet, I don't think, but that's okay. Has she sent Alfred off? She did that already, right? Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, but like, I hope the show gives us confirmation of, one, I'm pretty confident Alice is real. Whether what we're seeing through Damon's eyes is real, we know a lot of it's not. He's not sitting there fucking his mom. We know Bela's not there. We know Alcock isn't there. But, like, these other things where it's a little weird.
Lena.
Was it Lena?
Lena.
Sorry. Yeah,
Or sorry, Lenora.
don't fuck me up more.
Lena.
Like, it's just, I'm with you. A lot of this is not real, and I'm hoping we get some kind of confirmation of, in future, what was or not. Yeah, some clarity.
Right, like this is definitely real. Everything on this side is not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my one disagreement with the Glenn that I was gonna have, but then I kind of talked myself out of it, but I'll explain. When Simon comes walking into the thing, he looks behind him and looks at Alice. However, he looks at the back of Alice. We have seen Damon talking or listening to people talk, and he turns, and then Simon turns, and it's a washerwoman, or it's something else. So there's no, like, originally I was like, no, Simon saw her and like kind of noted her. But that doesn't mean he saw what he saw. Like, he saw what we saw.
It could have been a
thing.
ghost or something that he felt go past and just looked over.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, I'm not entirely against your thought there anymore. Like I said, I convinced myself of it, but it was had to go back 2 episodes or whatever where the Lena was serving, you know, Damon, and then all of a sudden Sam looks over and it's this old washerwoman or whatever. So I'm not entirely off the, you know, ghosty train with you. All
Yeah,
right, Luke, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, real or not, I feel like there are real conversations that are happening with Damon and Alice, or as I'm going to start calling her, Jiminy Rivers, because I feel like she's basically here to be like his conscience a bit. But like what she's saying, you know, what I hear in the wind, which is cool, you know.
Well, you know,
Paint
she's
with-
an owl.
Paint with all the colors of the wind, real Pocahontas-y. Appreciate that. One of the best Disney animated films of the mid-90s. But, you know, it's really interesting that she's here saying, I can hear the screams of the innocent, basically. And we even see him hearing those, like, in the distance, in the willow of the wind, the wisp of the willow and shit. And I don't know, it's just kind of, she's a cool character, and real or not, I don't really care.
Nothing
In a
against
way.
her. I'm not saying.
No, I'm not saying you're shitting on her.
her.
No, I mean, you might. She's all right. I don't know. But you might regret it when you're sleeping on a weirwood bed. I don't know. It's just a really cool character for Damon to be, I'm going to say, learning from right now, because he's kind of on this tirade, and this could, in the long run, be very good for him. It's also interesting that Damon calls out Aemond One Eye, and he's like, you never want to meet him. Like he'll cut your head off as soon as he'd shake your head, whatever he says. Like it, basically, he's a wild card, and more on that later.
Yeah, well, and she goes, and I heard the same about you. You know, so
Sure.
kind of, so if I trust you, should I trust him, or would, you know, kind of call that out? But one thing, Mikey in the chat there said, could be one big Weirwood LSD trip, and I just thought, you've heard of doing mushrooms? Have you heard of doing trees?
You gonna do some weirwood. He also
Weirwood.
said, "Hey Poe, if you lick it more than twice, you're playing with it. So take it easy
Cut
over
it out,
there,
Poe.
Pete."
Easy, Poe.
Pretty solid.
I do think, like, so there is a shit ton of people working on the restoration project or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause originally, I thought there was just like kind of Simon, Alice Rivers, and kind of the 3 or 4 Jim Oaks that are, I guess, his sons or something like that. Or
I thought it was Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, but
yeah, but I mean,
they might as well with the names of the Tolleys.
But
in this
what about
fucking area.
Dave?
Yeah.
You got Garfield, Hager, and fucking Dewdrop.
Dude.
All right, on to Driftmark, unless somebody's got something else.
Corliss receives a delivery.
Go ahead, Billy.
I love that Bela shows that she knows who she is in this scene when she gets offered to be Corliss's heir. And she says, no, this has to go to someone of salt and sea. I'm fire and blood. I'm not the girl for this job.
Yeah, my only thought was, who is she referring to or implying? You know, or
I
does
hope
she
her
even
sister.
I would hope so. Which was betrothed to the previously named heir.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
and it was sea and salt and sea,
I think
not salt,
Salt
and
and sea.
smoke.
Salt and Smoke is the
Salt and
that's a
sea.
different thing.
I'm fire and blood. Driftmark should go to Salt and Sea.
like a barbecue joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also salt and smoke is what they say. The Baratheon says, and he's like, "What is he, a ham?"
Yeah,
They
He
say
was born
salt and
upon-
smoke
amid
at one
salt-
point.
He was born upon amid salt and smoke. What is he, a ham?
What is he, a ham?
Yeah.
I just
Renly.
wanted to. I misheard it as I was taking notes when we were doing this, but yeah, I liked that
Yeah.
a lot. She's incredible.
She's one of my favorite characters.
Luke?
Yeah, and I
Okay,
like
go ahead.
even further on Bela here, right? Not Lenora, not Leonor. No, she says, you never owned Rainey's. Like, she's kind of getting to him, Rainey's was the bomb.com on her own, and she chose this. Like, you need to keep being useful rather than wallowing here. And she kind of kicks him in the butt a little of, like, you need to, like, you can mourn. Like, I'm not shitting on you for that. But, like, don't mourn for her. Keep doing the thing that she died for. Like, keep pushing forward to help not make her death in vain. Like, finish what she was doing. And I think that's the kind of in-your-face, tough love that Corlys is really going to respond to. He's such a strong, individual-minded person. And he was with a strong, individual-minded person for so long with Rhaenys that, like, Bela being able to come in here and kind of show that she stacks up against him, too, is really something that he would respond to, as opposed to, like, oh, are you okay? Like, coddling him would absolutely be worthless. Like, he would lose so much respect for someone trying to tell him to do something if they were coddling him, as opposed to, hey, I know this is shitty, but, like, we gotta like, kind of keep after it. Like, don't let this be useless. And I like how she kind of shows some hyper confidence and lets him see it, and she turns down she turns down Driftmark. I think that's incredible. She's in line to be queen, so, like, that's one less thing that she needs to worry about in future. So I do hope it's her sister that she's trying to get set up.
Glenn?
I do feel bad for him at the same time. Like, I'm not denying anything you said or anything like that, but, I mean, we see him throughout the whole episode, kind of. He says, like, the castle's a tomb. It's empty. And really,
everyone he loved is gone.
Yeah, everyone is, kind of going, and he's just sitting there to enjoy his castle by himself.
I was coming and going and going and coming, but always too soon.
Maybe he should invite Alan over for dinner.
Maybe.
So one thing I wanted to bring up the last few episodes, and just because I have finally read Fire and Blood and everything, and I just realized this. Why is she called the Queen That Never Was? Because it's probably one of the last times we're going to speak about Rhaenys.
The Queen Who Never Was. The Queen Who Never Was.
The Queen Who Never Was. I know. But the thing is, in the book, at least wise, when the whole regency from the Great Council, she was vying for Lenore to be king. He was already born. She was vying for him to be the heir, not her. I know the show, that's a change. The change was for her to be the heir. So I understand why the show would say that. But why in the book is she referred that way?
Like that, I feel like that's a bigger conversation.
I know, and we don't have to touch on it right now. But it's one that I've been wanting. Like, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Let's talk offline, because I would need to re-up on that specific chapter a little bit. It was a good a good call, and she should have gotten it. Is what it comes down to. It should have gone her line and everything like that. It's just either show or book wise, her or Lenore. It's just I just was always confused with the title. That's all. All right. Anyway, moving back for the just one quick on that. The reason it's a title is because at the end of it, it was down between Rhaenys and Viserys. It just was. It was between picking that or that. It was the choice was between those
picking
two.
The line,
right?
Like,
so as far as specifics, we'll come back to it some other time.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. All right. Moving back to Dragonstone.
Sir Alfred is sent to check up on Daemon and play Raven for Rhaenyra.
Luke?
This is she goes into this knowing that this is going to be kind of a touchy ask, and like immediately he's like, are you asking me to not sit on your council anymore? And she immediately like plays it super well here, I think, of, dude, like, I know you've been kind of testing me and trying me and kind of being difficult. I am not someone who doesn't want that on my council. Like, I feel like it was kind of awesome for her to be like, I don't want these lick spittles on the council just going with whatever I say. I want to be challenged. Like, that's the whole point of you being here. If you're just saying, oh yes, ma'am, oh yes, your
Yes, Your
grace. Like
Grace.
that's not useful. Like I'm not saying that is what Rhaenyra is going at. And she's like, no, I'm not kicking you off the council. I appreciate the difficulty that you've brought to me. Like it, because you're not the only, if you're thinking it, how many others are thinking of it? So I can at least utilize that. And I know that your loyalty is unquestionable. Like that was awesome. What are you going to go to the high towers? Like I know you hate them way more than the idea of following me into battle. I know this. Good on her. Like I thought it was a good, like, hey, olive branch a little bit, like, hey, no, we're cool, but I have a job for you. Like, and she gives him a really, really like high responsibility thing to do. Hey, go talk to my husband that I haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two things. I think
And I think she keeps his respect a lot out of how she handles the
Yeah.
whole thing.
it's kind of like sending Sir Curmudgeon away, more peaceful council meetings. But at the same time, yeah, he's got a big job, and she can't just send ravens because he's probably just going to throw them in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do exactly what she did to Allison's ravens.
Just hold on to him for a while.
Ignore him.
Oh, I gotta see multiple dogs on screen for Benji.
Yeah, they're
It's a pup fest.
one won't leave the other alone. I'll let you guess which.
Yeah, the little one's fucking with the big one for sure.
Mm-hmm. Literally sitting on his head right now.
You go,
All right.
Bowser.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for Hay? Anything else for Dragonstone?
Nope.
All right. Moving on.
We go to Harrenhal, where Damon receives bad news.
Not at the hour of the wolf.
No, of course not. Like, what are we doing here? It's so late.
Yeah. You know,
We just had the hour of the wolf
Disturbing me.
right here.
I don't know. This could be in his head too. I could see it both ways, I guess, but
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me either way.
I think
Yeah.
in either case, it's like a super useful scene. Like, because whether it's him going through guilt of what he allowed the Blackwoods to do and kind of goaded into doing, like, that's useful. Like, that's good for character development.
Real or
right?
not.
Real or not. Or it's real and it's like, oh shit, like the Blackwoods are using our sigil, our, crown, the crown sigil to
This is not
as
going to
a
look good
shield
for us.
for fucking war atrocities. Like,
Yeah.
not really a good look. Not really what I was winking about earlier. Like,
Back to Damon giving really bad instructions,
or
am I right?
this is exactly what I was winking about, and I just have to play the. Well, what should I do? Sorry, we're sorry. Like, what's these? Like, what? I don't know. It's
I do genuinely think he's not mad about what they did. He's mad about the fucking banners being flown. That's
right.
Mhm.
it was supposed to be more subverted.
He specifically
Um,
said there are things that the crown can't be seen doing. Like, you can't do this on the crown's name.
Yeah, so what do? Go and take the crown's banner and just fly it?
I think
Cool.
someone's gonna get a stern talking to.
Smacking.
A spanking.
Nice flick on
All
the
right,
nose.
so-
Blackwood.
I am so done with this storyline.
Yeah.
I want to go off Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's boring. I'm sorry. Move on. We get it. Damon's insane. He's going nuts. He's having trouble doing this and this. Okay, fine. And I get it. They're building, but it's like you've been building for 3 episodes now. He's done and I'll give the same shit I gave Rhaenyra. You've done nothing, and it's boring, and I'm tired of it. Like, so this whole episode with him, I'm just like, yeah. Apart from the very first scene, talking to Brackens, I could give 2 shits less.
Yeah.
This
About anything
entire
else.
episode felt like nothing
I
happened.
was gonna say I'm gonna spoil my final thought. You're
I
describing
know,
the
trust
entire
me,
episode.
I was
I had that thought last episode
Yep.
with Harrenhal, and then like he took like the drink or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Like now he's gonna be fixed of all his like delusions or whatever, and now like something's gonna happen, and then nothing does.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I like the episode, but holy shit, it doesn't feel like anything's actually going on.
No, you looked at the
Oh,
clock
yeah.
at like 55 minutes in, and it's like, oh my god, it's almost over. And I feel like we
said
didn't
that
see
last
anything
night. I
happen.
was like, holy shit,
Here-
we got a couple
Here's the
minutes
thing.
left.
I finished the episode at 8:55. I left your house at 7:55.
You finished it
finished
before
before
us.
we did.
You finished it before us.
Yeah. Yeah, I finished it at 8:55 because I went right through two times speed the entire time. Nothing made me want to. Oh wait,
There
slow
was
down. Let
no
me go back.
like, oh, did I miss? No, I guarantee we would have been just fine watching
This
it.
was the perfect episode to record the day after it airs.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
For this, oh my god, thank
Yeah.
you, show writers. Thank you specifically Claire Kilner and Ty Mickle. You
They
know,
were
nice
looking out
work.
for the podcast that drinks and knows.
They had us on
Yeah.
this, July 15th?
Yep.
They knew.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So anyway, but yeah, no, I'm glad we got that out of the way. But yeah, because now like the next 3-4 scenes, I think we could kind of roll through them all together.
They're all kind of
a bit,
little.
'cause they
It
are
goes
kind of all
really quick.
montagey.
Yep.
Yeah,
What's that?
it's a montage. We
Okay.
agree. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So go for it. I'd say roll through the next 4.
Yep.
You're good to-
All but the final scene. So we hit Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra gazes into the fire.
Yay, fire.
Yep, basically just cut directly from Daemon doing the same thing in Harrenhal. We then see Rhaenyra also doing the same thing where she is.
Touching a lintel over a fireplace.
It was a cool scene. It didn't add much.
Agreed.
King's Landing. Masaria's minion enters King's Landing.
She knows people.
She sure does.
She does.
Yeah, and her name's Alinda.
Yep.
It is.
She's doing a thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, buddy, can I get in?" He goes, "No, no one can get in." She's like, "But like, you thought,
No way, no how.
right? But you
City's
know
closed.
me.
No way, no how.
Oh, okay, come on in."
You got the ruby slippers. Well, that's a horse of a different color.
Then we hit Driftmark, where Corlys contemplates.
And he does that. Oh, the contemplation! Look at all the contemplating we're doing
Do
here.
I want to accept the pin?
He was offered the hand.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
'Cause, like they never specifically said that, so they did. Or actually, did Baela say she
Yeah,
wants to be the
That
hand?
was
or
that was
did
in the box.
Yeah, she
Yeah. It
says
was just in the box.
She says it to him.
Okay, I can remember if she said it during there. So okay,
Mhm.
that was the one scene where book-wise it was actually Jace who convinces Corlys to take the position, not Baela. But it's an okay change because
Yeah.
Jace is doing his thing.
It's a
So I'm
good
fine with it.
change.
Yep. All
We
right,
like it.
and King's Landing.
Helena questions Aemond, and Alicent watches over Aegon.
She says,
Yeah.
"Was it worth the price?"
To
That
Aemon.
was kind of the biggest. Yeah,
To Aemon,
Mhm.
yeah.
and he didn't
Which
say
I mean,
anything.
do you think he takes her in the price? Like, do you think if Aegon dies, he's gonna take Helena? I would assume so. Like that's his plan because he's been in love with her since children.
You think so? You think he's been in love with
Oh
her?
yeah, like I think like he has said I would be a better husband than he
Well,
would be.
He would
You
be.
know, and
He just is a better at
I think he would
everything than
step up to the
Aegon.
bat. you
I
know,
think
if
he
had
understands
to.
the duty better. Like he's a kid
I think
that.
he's.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I think there's stuff from season 1 that even from when they were kids or something where there were just signs that he was in love with her and he was resentful of Aegon for being the one to be betrothed.
Yeah, I mean he's resentful of Aegon for literally everything that Aegon's been given and not given,
Yeah.
knowing that he would be better at every single thing that Aegon is being asked to do. Like I think whether or not he's in love with Helena, fine. I think he just knows that he would be a more successful husband to her because he's better at everything than Aegon in his mind. Like the same as Daemon and Viserys. I am better at everything related to being a king than the guy that's actually being asked to do
You're
it.
just
Like,
better at
Well,
being bedridden.
And that's the funny thing. They think they
Nailed
are,
it.
but like Aegon proved that he's good with the small folk because he spent a lot of time with them in the whorehouses and the brothels and the bars.
and he's
you know,
parent
so
to a
he's-
lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a lot of kids out there.
He does. But like Viserys was the same way. He was good with the small folk. Now, was he good at warring? No. Is Aegon good at warring? No. But doesn't mean they're bad kings, and that's the big disconnect between Aemond and the other two. They think being good king is being a ruler instead of being a judge or a compassionate ear.
You have to be
And
the
so
king the
that's-
realm needs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You have to be the king that the realm needs.
Yeah, exactly. So like
And
right now,
different
yeah,
times have
the
different
realm
needs.
needs it.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. We'll see. To answer your question, Benj. Although
Sure.
I do know, and I won't answer.
I know. I do too. But anyway, all right. On to final scene.
Every episode has one of these, and this happens to be this episode's final scene. Cheers.
Cheers.
These don't clink well with
They
the
don't.
koozies on it.
Koozies, damn.
Raven sloshed.
Yes, Griffin drunk.
All right.
So we head back to Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra and Jace concoct a plan to gather dragon riders.
Go ahead. Somebody.
Glitch.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Yeah, sure.
Jace says at one point, like, what was he saying? God damn it. Oh, we should get like other dragon riders or whatever, other people who can do it, who are just
Yeah, who have like married
has
out.
the seeds, yeah, married out. And Rhaenyra kind of like, just
She's like, what are you gonna have, a Tarly or a Celtigar
Yeah,
like on a
yeah.
dragon?
it's better than death and defeat. So it's like we're doing something that is out of the box. Like, yeah, it could be a total failure, but at least we're going out with our heads held high.
Yeah, I mean, and really, like he's saying, we have a dearth of we have a dearth of dragons. Like we got fucking.
We don't lack
dragons.
for dragons.
We've got them. We're here at the mecca of dragons in the world right now, and we have more than the ones that have riders. Like we've got two big dogs, Vermithor and Silverwing, who are the only two that are really kind of in the same ballpark as Vhagar. Like maybe three of the kind of middle, smaller ones.
Shadowjacker.
Shadowjacker! You've not come out of your masturbation cocoon in eons. Different story. Sorry, you don't know that reference. But like, yeah, no, it's really interesting. I like watching these two talk through this whole thing. Like, I could watch these two finally working together. Like, they're both kind of in the same, I'm not allowed to go do anything, pout, pout, pout mood. But they're kind of doing it together now. And they're like,
Yeah.
well,
Let's
what
hold hands.
can we do? And Jace, like, what a fucking idea.
Brilliant.
It's like,
Absolutely brilliant.
come on, like, we've got the dragons. Like, let's at least take a shot at finding people that might be able to ride them.
Right? Like, worst case scenario, they try and they die. Well, that's a sacrifice of war.
A bit. Like, can you sacrifice maybe 15 attempts to save tens of thousands of people? Like, probably
And-
worth it.
And realistically, the people that agree to do it will know the risk of, hey, if you most of the time when you try to ride dragon, it doesn't work out. You probably could die. But if you don't, you get this fucking minivan over here to take them with you.
Maybe they should watch Harry Potter and, like, learn from respecting the Thestrals. You gotta bow to them and,
Right.
treat them with respect.
Make sure you're wearing pants. No dragon wants to feel that. Anyway, so my only thought on this was, anybody else think Jace maybe came up with the idea of the / dragon seeds, for lack of a better term, on it because of his unknown parentage, or what is suspected, or what he suspects? Because, hey, I might not be technically full-blooded Valyrian, descent here, but I'm still able to ride one. My brother was, so there could be others like me, half-bloods or whatever, that can still do it. Why not reach out?
Even more on for him, he even says, like, yeah, okay, we're told that only Targaryens / Valyrians can ride this in our histories that make us look good. Like, he's basically saying,
Yeah, our histories that gild us.
like, basically make us look like the gods that we portray.
Yeah.
And like maybe you don't
it's
really
just
need
propaganda.
to be Valyrian at all.
Yeah,
like
has
maybe
anybody
it's-
tried being, a so-and-so? And
Right. Like I just it's a good point, Benj, of it. He knows that he's not full Valyrian on both sides. To where he might have a unique perspective from other potential dragon riders in this era, at least. It's a good catch. That's nice job.
Thank you. All right.
No, thank you.
We're gonna flip this around. We're gonna go episode description first. Accuracy.
Oh, episode description. Amid whispers of bad omens, the Greens consider how to fill a void on Aegon's council. Jacaerys sets out on a rogue mission to strike a deal, and Daemon enlists Lord Willem Blackwood to help persuade the Brackens to bend the knee.
I mean, yeah, don't see anything, jarring. That's like, yeah, that happened. Nothing. They weren't trying to hide anything. This was not a fun episode, so they're like, yeah, here's everything. So
Pretty
there you
much. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of cryptic nature to this.
The only vagary
No.
is the void on Aegon's council being Aegon. Like,
Sure.
that's really
yeah.
the only thing that's potentially vague.
And what are these bad omens?
Yeah.
Like, right. Everything else is like, okay, those are things I
Here
feel like
you
they should
go.
happen in an episode.
all right. Episode title, Regent.
Oh my gosh. Benji. The word is Regent.
You know I'm
I think
doing-
it's a terrible
I'm doing it on purpose.
title because
Joke.
you don't know what
It's a
it's.
joke.
Is it
Regent
Regent
or
or-
Regent or Regent.
It's a Knigget. All right, Regent.
Yeah, I mean, I think this episode has a lot of the strife of what it means to be the ruler. Like we're getting like, okay, the rulers aren't allowed to do the thing. Rhaenyra even calls it out like, well, I'm the queen, which means I don't get to do what I want. Like, that's a line from this show. She's like, I can't do what I want because I'm the person that can do anything I want. Like, there's too much responsibility, and we're seeing that even in the heirs, and like I think it's one of the better titles I think we've had in a while, in my opinion. I appreciated it.
Oh, then I like it now.
Oh, well, Glenn, I kind of hope you have a dissenting opinion. Tear me apart. Let's hear it. What do you hate about it?
I don't.
I mean, we could go read Johnny Tremaine over there, and it was.
They should call it Johnny.
It should be
Tremaine.
called Johnny Deformed.
Oh shit! There is Old Yeller over there too. Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Don't you know what's on your bookshelf?
I do, but I forget. It's exciting being me sometimes.
All right.
So, Regent, Glenn,
we're
what do you
on
think?
to least favorite thing.
Regent.
I'm just going to throw it out there. This was my least favorite episode of the season, if not the series.
Hmm.
I just in
I could've told
general
you
as
that.
a whole.
For sure.
What's that?
I could have absolutely called that. Benji is going to call this a walk and talk fuck you episode. Like, this is a nothing
Exactly.
episode that Benji's going to fucking hate.
And you nailed it. Like, it's absolutely nothing happened. Absolutely nothing apart from the phrase joining the fray to a point. It's that nothing happened. And I did not appreciate this episode. It served whatever purpose they wanted to serve, fine. But yeah, not enjoyable at all. So but my absolute least favorite thing is the Harrenhal shit. I'm done with it. I'm just bored. So Luke, least favorite thing.
Oh, least favorite thing is it's just kind of a boring episode. It is kind of
Yeah.
a boring episode.
It's hard to choose a least favorite when it's all kind of
Alicent is my least favorite thing when she's trying to Cersei her way back to being called Queen Regent, like literally becoming the power again. When they have Aegon's literal heir in the fucking room, like I don't know, like read the room a
Who's
little.
like clearly of age. It's not like he's incapable.
He's too young. Well, fuck you. Like I don't know. Like I'm not against her skill set. I think she offers a lot, but like her not understanding. This is literally what Rhaenyra has been dealing with and what Rhaenys dealt with. Like, this is her first taste of that. Just blows me away that she was so ignorant to, they're not going to let this happen, and she's so butthurt over that. Like, it's one thing if she's like, well, I tried. Okay, all right. But no, she's like, but what about me?
I was so good the last time I did the job.
I don't know. It's just, that's my least favorite thing. I find her blasé, and I'm done with her.
Fair.
Yeah.
Bailey.
It's hard to pick, but I guess I'll go with the Eerie just because it was so short. It was one scene. I couldn't really care about it too much just because there was other stuff going on.
And they didn't build a snow castle.
Nope.
Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably agree with you on the Harrenhal stuff. It's just kind of stale at this point, and you know, I think it's kind of run its course, and I think something needs to happen.
No. All right, now to a brighter note. Favorite thing. I know it's tough, but there were some brighter spots. So, Glenn, what was your favorite thing?
I think like just seeing both the twins and like Eerie, not necessarily like the scenes.
His favorite thing,
but
was
just
the thing you hated the most. I'm just kidding.
That's okay. It's a
no,
wild
just
just
seeing,
seeing
like,
it.
just
The
seeing.
visuals were
Yeah,
awesome.
they were
Yeah.
great.
The twins looked awesome. I can't disagree.
Yeah,
there.
twins was awesome. And actually, my
And
favorite
Eerie's
thing
cool.
is the twin scene just as a whole.
That was
Like
good.
I actually did like the
Twins,
conversation
Skylar.
between them. I thought it fit the purpose. And I'm sorry, Glenn, if you weren't done with yours, I had a blanket there.
No,
blank
yeah,
audio
no,
there,
I'm
but
done.
yeah, no, it just the twin scene was nice to see, and yeah, it showed the nice scope and well designed and everything. And I liked Forrest and Sabbatha. I thought you learned their characters quickly with only a few lines, which was always nice to see. And Jane, Aaron. Jane Aaron,
Mhm.
yeah, Jane Aaron. Same thing with her too. You learn kind of who she was with just a short, quick scene, and I'm okay with that.
Jade Eyre.
Yeah.
I know. But my
That's
brain
a
was like,
different story.
wait a
That's a
second.
very different
That's-
story.
Yeah. Bailey.
What a
favorite thing.
happy accident on that one.
Right. I'm just gonna say Bela's whole story arc in this episode. Like, we really saw her get to be part of Team Black and do her work, and she's growing into who she is as a young woman. I like it.
She's really blossoming.
Yep.
Like, for real.
She's thriving in this role.
I'm
She just
gonna
needs a big floppy hat, and she can really blossom into it.
I'm gonna kind of agree with you and kind of pick the other choice. I like Jace in this episode. Like those two together in general, but like everything that Jace does, Bela's really my answer, but as a honorable mention, Jace right alongside her, like those two together is, I guess, my favorite thing. And they're both really accomplished in what they're going for this episode. Like, yeah, Jace breaks a little bit of a rule here. Like, he kind of goes against his mother's wishes, but like, dude's getting shit done. And at the end, when he's talking, like, the scene with Rhaenyra is also one of my absolute favorites so far this season. Like, those two actually getting to hang out and talk one-on-one, like, actually being able to be themselves. We don't have many times where that actually happens anymore, and that's, I feel like we got more, like, right when she became queen, of like, hey, you need to start, like, learning what it means to be an heir now, and that's hard, like, right when they found out that Viserys was dead. And this is, like, the first time we've had that kind of come back again, because he's just kind of been put down. He kind of took the reins here, and I think it opened the door for her to being okay with him taking some risk, some more active hand, and I really appreciated what he got going on this episode.
All right, and with that said, we'll run through our stuff real quick. House name, I'm Ben Slive House McLean. House words, it's dangerous to drink alone. House sigil is 3 black triangles on a red balloon, right there. Final thought, yeah, this one I'm not going to be sad to not have to watch again. So glad it was a one night, 1 week, one night turnaround for us to recap it and everything. And yep, I am excited to see where things lead. So that's all. Luke.
I am Lucan of House Blackmead. Real quick note, stay safe, Mikey. Tornadoes are real around here. That's for sure.
Yes.
He's not far from us.
No.
Ours is the drink, are my house words. The obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background is that Sige. And final thoughts, for how boring this episode was, I think I even said this last night, I still really liked it. Like, nothing actually happened. But I never felt like it was really dragging. Like, in a surprising way. Like, it went really fast. Like, even today, I was like, nothing happened.
And an hour
It went
just
by.
passed.
It was really quick. Like, to me, that's maybe maybe they're getting better at those kind of walk and talk, just do nothing episodes. Because it was all compelling, just no real action. And sometimes that's okay, because we are literally at that pivot point in the season, middle of the season. You know, we just had some big action. Let's have the fallout from there, and now let's crawl out through the fallout into the rest of the season.
Yeah. So may I say, Luke, really quick, it wasn't the walkie-talkie that was bothering me. It was the long, drawn-out, looking sad.
No, I know. There wasn't a lot of specific walking and talking, but I just, for a little action episode where it's a lot of talking, I just I qualified as a Benji walkie-talkie episode.
I don't mind the walkie-talkie. I like the walkie-talkie. I hate the staring off the distance contemplating. You know. But anyway, all right, Bailey.
I am Bailey of House Blend. Our house words are but first, coffee, and occasionally beer sometimes. House Sigil is a mermaid on a field of green. And final thought, I'm ready for the next episode. Like, this was fine. We got a lot of much needed plot development, but I'm ready to see it. And I'm really sad that I'm probably going to have to wait, because I may not have good internet this weekend, so we'll see.
This is the first time we've recorded this season. We weren't watching the episode immediately after.
It feels weird.
It's really weird. I'm so excited.
After. It's like,
we're a
we
little
just
late,
did
guys.
this last
We're a little
night.
late.
Glenn.
all right, my name is Glenn of House Dog. The words, you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. The Sige is a dog with a hockey sweater on. Final thought, this is your run-of-the-mill episode where nothing happens.
Typical episode 5.
Typical episode 5
5.
of House of Dragon Season 2.
Yeah, or so. Thereabouts.
We've seen this
Long
all
live
This
Cheese's
happens
dog.
all the time.
Long live Cheese's dog.
All right. And with that said, you can become a patron. Make sure you learn more at patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all the ways you can help keep our beer bank full, check out the podcastthat.com/support us. Look us up on YouTube under Drawbridge Media. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Know and Drink. Send us a digital raven at knowandrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes and YouTube. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. And programming note, like tonight, we're doing little things different. There will be no new episode next week. Obviously, we're doing it tonight, but also the one following week. So we will be doing a double header on August 4th, probably around 5 p.m. ish, maybe a little earlier Central Time. Keep tuned. We'll make sure we set that out properly. But until next time,
As always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, I need more caffeine.
as always, winter is coming and so am I.
As always, thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time. Stay imaginary.
Thank you.